Hey, and we are live, folks. Just checking for more people to come in. And yeah, I know there's a lag as usual since I'm using StreamYard. Is my mic good? Need to check that. EMB, and Yosef, good to see you guys. Just check that. Please check if my mic is good. Just checking the chat. Make sure you can invite more people. I'm not sure if I'm already shadow banned. It's a possibility. Anyway, guys, please pray for this session. Pray that we don't suffer any kind of distractions or internet issues, technical issues. Pray also just for my health as well. Not been 100% today. Pray that God gives me the strength and the energy to go through with this session. Oh, good. The mic's good. And expose these three frauds. There are three actually. One supposed ex-Christian, Jedediah Ramaril, and yeah, happy Feast of Pentecost to all of you. All right. Okay, so I'll just drop the link to the video which I am reviewing, which is actually part 2. I'd done part 1 sometime last month. And Lord willing, I might also start a series with the origins of Hindu nationalism, the Hindu nationalist movement in India, sometime later this month or next month, Lord willing. I've already posted a stream 2 weeks from now concerning the origins of the Hindu nationalist movement. Okay, guys, so I'll just quickly share my screen and we'll get into it. Just a second, share my screen. Share system audio entire screen. Hey guys, can you see my screen? Just need to check. Just come into cinema mode. Just need to check if you guys can hear the audio as well. Is the audio good? The audio from the video I'm playing, is it good? Let me see. I know there's a lag and not sure why too many people aren't in today, but that's all right.
Yes, Jews add a lot of credibility to their message, their evangelical activities elsewhere in.
Guys, I just want to check, is the audio good? Are you able to hear the video I'm playing? I'll be playing it at 1.25 speed. Anyway, I'll just get started.
In the world outside of Israel. So that's one of the reasons they're converting Jews. But also, it's not like they haven't succeeded in converting Jews, right? There are these organizations called Jews for Jesus, or I think that's one of the very active organizations.
Okay, so this is just part 2 of the interview which Esther Dhanraj, Hindu nationalist, ex-Christian, did with Tovia Singer, militant, anti-Christian Jewish rabbi, just to give you a context. So it's just a continuation of that interview which I'm reviewing, just to give you context. So she's talking about Jews for Jesus. Now it's this Christian organization, this Messianic Jewish organization, who are active in evangelization of the Jews to get them over to Christianity. So she's just asking Tovia Singer that question.
That are promoting Jesus as Jews promoting Jesus as the Messiah.
Right. So I want to comment on something you said. You said that you're a mythicist. But what?
So she's now Esther Dhanraj says that she's a mythicist, so she doesn't actually believe that Jesus actually even existed. And for Tovia Singer, apparently that's not really a big problem. But Tovia Singer being a Jew, for them Jesus has to exist. Otherwise, if Jesus didn't exist, then they shouldn't be too worried about Christianity.
Even if even that you're a mythicist, that isn't relevant to Christians. Christians are not mythicists, obviously. So that means whether Jesus existed or did not exist historically, if there was such a figure in the first century, the Christians believe that he really did exist. He was a historical figure, and therefore it bothers them a lot. It would not bother you, or would not bother Robert Price.
I have a question. Why would it bother Christians a lot if Jesus existed? Why does it not bother Robert Price? I mean, Robert Price is a mythicist, right? Dr. Robert Price. Yet he just wants to make a video saying Jesus didn't exist and all that stuff. Esther Dhanraj and most of these Hindu nationalists like Neeraj Attri and her master, what's her name? Rajiv Malhotra, so-called Dr. Rajiv Malhotra, even they are mythicists. But then why this outrage against Christianity? I just don't get it. Why is it bothering them if, according to them, Jesus is a myth?
Dr. Price, but it really bothers the Christians an enormous amount. The question is, what am I doing? So the only possible response is education. I mean, if education, if
What education are you talking about, Tovia?
empowerment of knowledge is not the answer, then everything we're doing is wrong. The Jewish people cherish knowledge and wisdom. This is a very big part of our culture, is having knowledge, having wisdom, understanding, delving into the text. Every Jewish child relates.
Tovia Singer is just talking nonsense over here. If you just look at the Jewish population today throughout the world, 2/3 of them, they are secular. They don't really care. And the ones that are religious, they could just be nominal Jews. It's less than 10% of the entire Jewish population which would just be caring about such things. And most of that 10% you'll just find in the ultra-Orthodox Jews in Israel.
Raised in a Jewish home could read Hebrew as a first language.
Could read Hebrew as a first language? Please, he's talking nonsense. You talk to any American Jew raised inside a Jewish home, Hebrew is not necessarily their first language. They just know enough of Hebrew, I'd say, as a second or a third language. Like, say, if you happen to be a traditional Catholic going for your traditional Latin Mass, that's about the level of Hebrew they will know as compared to the level of Latin a traditional Catholic would know. Just at a liturgical level, they could say prayers in Hebrew, they could say some chants in Hebrew, and maybe a few greetings in Hebrew. That's about it. The people where Hebrew would be the first language would be the people in Israel, not even Tovia Singer. Tovia Singer is American. Even Michael Brown is also American. Hebrew is not their first language, to be very frank. It's not really their first language. They are proficient at Hebrew, I can say that. At an academic level, they are good, but it's not really, you could say, their first language. English is their first language. Oh yeah, servant of Jesus Christ, that Hindu troll pretending to be a Jew, and then he was stuck, saying that he was an agnostic. Yeah, I got several attacks. Some of them I just blocked. So there'll be more coming.
And Hebrew is the national language of my country. So therefore, you can't fool Jews who are knowledgeable because they know that.
You can't fool Jews who are knowledgeable because they know, yeah, like how the entire Jewish population in the 2nd century thought that Simon Bar Kokhba was the Messiah. All of them universally accepted him as the Messiah. And what happened to them? Seriously, knowledgeable.
Jews who join Jews for Jesus, these Jews, unfortunately, are Jews who are not educated in the Jewish scriptures, and therefore, of course, they could make this mistake. So
Oh, really? They are not educated in the Jewish scriptures. I don't know. Why are you running away from Michael Brown when it comes to debate? He knows Hebrew at a very scholarly level, just as you do. Why have you been running? Yes, Saliku. Happy Feast of Pentecost to you as well, and to everyone in the chat. This doesn't make much sense.
Everything is about education. Let's look back at the Jewish Bible. Let's learn about what the Messiah is supposed.
Let's look back at the Jewish Bible. Now, when he means Jewish Bible, are you actually talking about the Tanakh? Are you actually talking about the Torah? No. You, as a rabbinic Jew, for you, you look at the exegesis in the Talmud. That's what you guys are looking at. And over there, a Jew, a rabbinic Jew, they can't read the Tanakh by themselves. They need to be schooled under a rabbi. It's proper religious education. It's not like sola scriptura Judaism. Like that's the brand of Judaism you follow. Just let's be frank over that. Quit lying.
To do. What is the Messiah? What does that mean? See, the danger is that Christians and Jews are both using the word Messiah, same word, but we mean something completely different, and people don't know that. We're using the same word like Satan, we use words like heaven, but we mean something utterly different. We use words like monotheism, but we mean something entirely different when we use those words. So you have to be very aware of that. So the beginning and end of everything is education. Knowledge is power. And if people understand about the root of the faith, then they will be able to detect the counterfeit immediately. Let me tell you something interesting.
Okay, now he gives this analogy about detecting counterfeits. I'm not sure if people have heard of this analogy. So he's basically saying, how can you judge a counterfeit coin from the real coin? How would you know? He's just saying train people with the real coin first. And then the moment the counterfeit is presented to you, they will be able to identify the counterfeit from the real one. So according to him, his brand of Judaism, which he's preaching, is the real coin. Christianity is the fake coin. But now that's quite a poor analogy. Now, if you're a Muslim, you will be spending time in your madrasas and you'll be taught the very same thing, that Islam is the real coin. All the other religions, they're false. These are counterfeits. If you are a Christian, you'll be taught the same thing. I mean, this analogy you're drawing, it's just subjectivism, nothing else.
Interesting. I was lecturing in Washington. It's actually in Virginia, in Fairfax, right outside the capital of the United States, at a synagogue. Met a fellow who works for the Secret Service of the United States, federal agency. His job is not to protect the president or any official. His job is to protect the currency of the United States, which is like a world standard. And the Secret Service has a very important role. It's a very central core role, mandate, is to make sure that counterfeits do not make it into the economic system. The counterfeiters are caught. And I asked them, like, how do you do this? Do you have agents studying different kinds of counterfeit money that's been confiscated over the years? And he said, no, Rabbi, that's not the way we train agents. He said, the way we train our agents how to immediately detect counterfeit currency is we show them real money, real currency. American dollars are printed on a paper. There is no other paper like it in the world. And they know exactly what it feels like. They're very complex, fine line engravings and shifting watermarks in a genuine dollar and genuine American currency. And if an agent knows real money very well in every aspect of what to find real money, if you dare put a counterfeit in his hand, he will know it immediately. What am I saying to you? I'm saying that in order to know what the counterfeit is, know what the real thing is. Go back to the original. Understand the original text.
Go back to the original. Understand the original text. What did Toya say? Go back to the original. Understand the original text in Hebrew. Muslims, go back to the Arabic. Understand the Arabic. And by the way, Tovia Singer, the manuscripts which you cherish, the Hebrew manuscripts which you cherish, they are not the original Hebrew. They are like 4th or 5th generation manuscripts of the Masoretic family, which is actually a word for word translation, meaning it's exactly word by word. So some places where you have Jewish idioms and phrases and things, you can't take those things very literally. They are quite figurative. Unlike the Septuagint, or unlike, you could say, the Dewey Rheims Old Testament, which was actually a commentary, that was actually a paraphrase. And by the way, when it comes to the Septuagint, it was a paraphrase made by the Jews, your rabbis, about 300 to 200 years before the time of Christ, and approved by your high priests as a very legit translation. The same thing goes with the Old Testament of the Latin Vulgate, which got translated into the Jewy Reims. Jerome spent time with your rabbis to translate the Hebrew and to get the actual intended meaning of the text. Okay, the actual intended meaning of the text, not the word for word text, which was actually the meaning of the text. So please, we have more of the original Bible and originally what it's intended to be saying, not your Masoretic corruptions.
If you know the original text, then no one will be able to fool you with a counterfeit.
And by the way, you follow the Talmud over the Torah. For you, the Talmud is like your CCC. It's your catechism. Okay, you need the Talmud to interpret the Torah. So quit talking this nonsense. Unless you happen to be a Karaite Jew, then that's different.
That's our message. Knowledge, empowerment, learn the real thing. You'll detect a counterfeit immediately.
Very well said. To identify the counterfeit, first know the original.
Esther, do you even know the originals of your scriptures? No. Have you read the originals of any of the Vedas, the Puranas, the Gita, the Ramayana in Sanskrit? No. Have you even forget that? Have you even read them in English? I doubt it. I really doubt it.
So, Rabbi, I have another question.
This is the supposed Christian, so-called practicing Christian, quote unquote practicing Christian, which I spoke about. But over here, he just seems to be their friend. He's no practicing Christian. He's just an RSS lackey.
One of the constant questions that has been asked to me is India a tolerant country, a religiously tolerant country? And more than once I have said, if you want to know whether India is a tolerant country, then you need to ask the Jews who lived in India. I'm sure you are aware that we have synagogues in India. And as per what I read and what I've heard, probably the only country in the world where Jews were not persecuted was India. In such a context, don't you think it's ironical that people still say that there is no religious freedom in India?
What a stupid analogy is drawing. There barely could be less than 10,000 Jews in India. A lot of people don't even know that Jews exist in India, FYI. And the other thing is, to be really frank, your Hindu nationalism, your RSS movement, you're looking mostly at Christians and Muslims. Yeah, even Muslims are their targets, unfortunately, which is not really a good thing. I mean, who would care more or less about the Jews at the end of the day?
I will also substantiate this because it is not the question of practicing or professing a religion what matters here, especially the Christian community. What they want is they want to indulge in conversion.
Come on. I mean, Christians will indulge in conversions. Don't you guys come to the West? Your ISKCON moments. What's that? International Society of Krishna Consciousness, who just dance on the roads. Like I see them every Friday, right here up where I'm staying, right here on the main road of the city, dancing and trying to proselytize. And they have managed to proselytize a lot of people in the West. So if you guys can come and proselytize in the West, then what's wrong about allowing Christians to come to India? And you are the guys who keep anti-conversion laws. Quit yakking nonsense.
And when there are steps taken to counter it, it's called.
Yeah, the servant of Jesus Christ. He's an ex-Hindu in the chat. He's become a Christian. He studied in a Christian school in India. Nobody tried to convert me. And this is a fact. Even I've been to a Christian school in India. And if you're looking at the percentage of Christians in Christian schools in India, it's less than 20%, maybe maximum 20-25%. That's how many people are around. If you're talking about the number of Christians, and they don't try to convert. Conversion is not their thing. It's like equal education for all. That's how things work, whether you happen to be in a Catholic school or a school run by the Syriac Orthodox Church or even a Protestant run missionary school. It's the same thing. Nobody tries to force convert students there.
Religious intolerance. And the Hindus are brandished and blamed, saying that they're intolerant.
It's not the Hindus who are intolerant, it's your Hindu nationalist movement which has sprung up in the last 100 years, which have caused this sentiment. And unfortunately, since your government came into power a decade ago, you guys have like gone over the top. So quit yakking nonsense.
It's like this: you can practice your faith,
Like what they say, Ghar Wapasi movement, that is return home. And this is actually the catchphrase they want to use against Christians and Muslims in India to convert them back into Hinduism. And for Christians to convert people, yeah, it's bad, right?
but when you are trying to force your faith on others, the Hindus are waking up to it today.
When you're trying to force your faith on others, what are you guys doing, man, in the West? What are you guys doing in Banaras? Please quit talking nonsense. And you guys in Banaras and the so-called holy places have no problem when Westerners come over there to bathe in your holy river and do whatever with your sages and all these things. That time you want to preach your religion. That time when you're outside of India, you want to make all these ISKCON societies and set up temples and synagogues. I mean, not temples, I mean temples and ashrams and all these things. And openly proselytize on the streets. Like if I'm just walking on the main street here in my city, I can just see every religion is trying to proselytize, whether it's Christianity, mostly evangelicals on the road or born agains. I can see Hindus, and if I'm talking about Muslims, I won't see them on the streets, but you'll see them near the mosques with their dawa pamphlets.
And that's been branded as extremism. Probably as a child,
Extremism. This has been branded as extremism. Christians coming to convert Hindus in India. That's extremism. So what is ISKCON? Isn't that a form of extremism too, by your definition? Yeah, servant of Jesus Christ. I noticed you said that. Yeah, it's a pain listening. Yeah, so when I do, when I respond to such videos, I listen to them at 1.5 times the speed or sometimes twice the speed. Because yeah, it's a torture listening, to be really honest, and then making a session to rebut this.
only time I heard, apart from the Bible, about a Jew was Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. Shylock. Shylock is a villain, and this every possible child in this. It's a curriculum, part of the curriculum. And if you actually read the whole book, then your hatred towards the Jews only builds up.
Please, Merchant of Venice doesn't create any hatred towards the Jews. This is such nonsense. Okay, just talking about a particular Jewish moneylender who was a bit harsh. That's about it. It's got nothing about to do about concerning hatred about the Jews. If you want to read hatred about the Jews, go open things like the Quran, go open the Hadiths, and then you'll talk about hatred about the Jews. I wonder what this tovia singer has got to say about Islam. Islam is the second biggest religion in Israel, by the way. If I'm looking at the three biggest religion in Israel, just a second, let me just write it down. Just format, fonts, maybe keep it at font 22 for the people who are using phones. Like say, I would say it's Judaism, which is first, which is over around maybe 40 to 50%. I can't recall the exact figures, like 40% roughly, or 50%, roughly that much. Then Islam, which is close to 18%. Christianity, less than 2%. And about that, about Judaism is atheism, which is also around say 40%, roughly. These are the stats. I mean, I'm a little off here and there, maybe by a few percentage, but this is the general thing in Israel. I wonder why is Toya Singer not concerned about this? And this is the fastest growing, by the way. Or concerned about this. This is declining. Okay. Seriously. Yeah, there are many Jewish atheists. The most religious Jews you will find, the highest percentage of religious Jews you will find at a given population would be in Israel. That's about it. You go outside of Israel, 90% of Jews are secular. They'll claim they are Jewish, but they are secular.
So that's the kind of strategy what I see has been used to demonize the Jew. And
Strategy to demonize the Jew. Really? Seriously? Go to any Christian school in India. We don't speak ill about the Jews. Go to uh, any Catholic service in India, especially on Good Friday. We actually pray especially for the Jews. Open your Bible, open your New Testament. See what people have to say about the Jews.
if you look at the Christian Bible, it's only demonizing the Jews, whether it's
Demonizing the Jews. Oh my gosh.
a Good Samaritan story,
Good Samaritan story. Here he's taking the Good Samaritan story out of context. Seriously. Seriously.
or you name the story where you find a Jew who has not listened to Jesus. So aren't these
Name the story, you'll find a Jew who has not listened to Jesus. What? Seriously? Jesus was a Jew. Jesus' first disciples were Jews. There were over 500 witnesses who were Jews, who were Jesus' followers. The first Christians were Jews for a good while, or they were Jews who were living outside of the region of Judea, like in Acts of the Apostles. You could see regions from Ethiopia, Persia, Cappadocia. They were Jews spread across all over the planet. And who was the first recorded Gentile to get baptized? It was a Roman by Peter. Okay, so technically speaking, by this technicality, Peter founded the church at Rome. He baptized Cornelius, who was the first Gentile who was not a Jew. And after that, then they had to talk about things like what should be the law for the Gentiles, that is, the Gentile Christians, not the Jewish Christians, and so on and so forth. Good to see you, Deus Volt. Happy Pentecost to you. Good to see you, Just Janice. Yeah, he's smirking. This fake Christian. This guy's another fraud.
strategies? What kind of new strategies are being used in Israel?
And now just watch the fun about these guys.
This is very interesting because there's a lot of information coming at me. What is very striking about The Merchant of Venice is that
Now listen to the lie Tovia Singer says. Listen to this lie.
Shakespeare never met a Jew in his life.
Shakespeare never met a Jew in his life. Oh, really?
The Merchant of Venice was written during the 16th century,
Okay.
at a time when there were no Jews in England.
You are wrong.
Jews were expelled from England. It was only
Jews were expelled from England 2 centuries before.
many decades after Shakespeare died that Jews were allowed to return to England.
No. You're wrong.
Many centuries, Jews were expelled from England.
Even secular sources refute you, Tovia Singer.
Most people don't know this.
You don't know this, actually. So I'll just give you the rough timeline. He's partially right, but he's wrong about the part he didn't know the Jew. Okay. So I'll just come back to my notes here. So just to be frank, Jews were expelled from England. He got that part right in the 13th century. 1290. All right. But now what this guy Tovia Singer is not telling you is this thing. Jews were expelled from Spain in 1492, roughly around that time. I can't exactly remember the year, but the end of the 15th century. Okay. Now, many of these expelled Jews from Spain went to England at this time. and most of them converted, had to convert to Christianity. Okay. And also at this time, even the Reformation was going on. So they were directly under the Church of England, by the way. The Catholic Church didn't exist in England at that point of time. Obviously, they existed in Spain. So this is the Church of England, founded by Henry VIII, FYI. That's England at that time, Shakespeare's time. Now, the Jew Shakespeare is talking about, his name is Rodrigo Lopez. Character, Shakespeare's character inspiration for the Jew in Merchant of Venice is based on Rodrigo Lopez. Okay, now this man's parents, Lopez's parents, had come to England and had converted to Christianity soon after. Now, one thing about Lopez, this man, Rodrigo Lopez, now, who was the Queen of England at that time? Queen Elizabeth I, not Queen Elizabeth II, the current monarch, Queen Elizabeth I. Physician, by the way, doctor. Just to let you know. Now, how did Shakespeare know Queen Elizabeth? Now, Shakespeare was an acquaintance of Queen Elizabeth. History tells you that. And Queen Elizabeth also used to frequent the theater to watch Shakespeare's plays. Okay. And now, why was Rodrigo famous? So, Rodrigo was actually accused of some assassination plot for the Queen, against the Queen. So, he was put to death for that. And maybe based on this, Shakespeare got some influence to make him a character in the Merchant of Venice, like the Jewish merchant whose name was Shalak in the Merchant of Venice, who was asking that I want a pound of flesh from the Christian. Okay. So Shakespeare did know one Jew, and that Jew in particular. Tovia smoked nonsense, just now. You want proof? I'll give you citations. Give me a minute. Just a second, guys. I think I have the tab open somewhere. Just a second. Just stop sharing my screen. I did have the tab open somewhere. Just a second. Just a minute. I think I'll just open. Just a minute, guys. Be bear with me. I'll share my screen again. Share screen. Share my audio. I'll just drop this link in the chat. So this is the Jew Shakespeare knew about. So he comes from a Jewish family, and he was put to death because he was under the suspicion of poisoning Queen Elizabeth. So since this case attracted much attention, it's generally believed that Lopez was the prototype, or you could say the inspiration of Shylock in Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. And you could also read Wikipedia about this guy. I mean, Wikipedia is not a credible source, but then there's enough to tell you that this guy was from a Jewish family. Okay? It's not that people like Tovia Singer have no clue. It's because that he's a liar. He's a big time liar.
But with the exception of Ireland, Jews were expelled from every single European country, all of them Christian, of course, which is mind-blowing.
About this charges of anti-Semitism, that's another story. I'll probably clip this part of the video and make a video about it against this so-called anti-Semitism, which the church is being accused of. The Inquisition and all that stuff, which again is kind of blown out of proportion a lot.
Which is even more mind-blowing is that all of Shakespeare's views about the Jewish people, which of course is very prominent in this play.
Yeah, there you go, Deus Imperator. The Jews were never expelled from the Papal States. Yeah, that's true. Spain was no longer a part of the Papal States when the Jews were expelled from Spain in the late 15th century. The Pope had lost control of Spain. He had lost control of Portugal. He had lost control of a lot of states by that point of time, post the Reformation as well. Yeah, that's a fact. It was the Papal States that gave refuge to the Jews. They had given them permission to trade. They had given them permission to live and all that stuff. Yeah, Deus Imperator, you're right. But that's a video for another day to answer those charges. Not really sure about that servant of Jesus Christ. They could have been, but that's also about the time when the Reformation was going on and barely a century into the founding of the Church of England, King Henry VIII's church. So their monarch was technically Queen Elizabeth, also who's the head of the Anglican Church. That was Queen Elizabeth I in Shakespeare's time. Today it's Queen Elizabeth II.
All comes from the Christian characterization of the Jew. And the Jews are characterized in a certain way as a villain throughout the Gospels. And therefore, Shakespeare wasn't foolish. When he had to create the villain, he knew exactly who, to make sure that the villain, not the hero, was the Jew, or else the play would have never taken off and he would have never become such a big success story. If anybody in England, in 16th century England, would have written, books about, how fantastic the Jews are, the books would have been thrown in the garbage, and the person who wrote them would have been burnt at the stake alive. So, anyway, so that's what's.
Yeah. Oh yes, Deus Volt, you're right. The Jews were never asked himself why they were expelled. That's right. They were the ones who started creating trouble over that, despite getting rights and stuff. And even today, they want to play victim mentality. And it's also very likely that in Israel, they have forsaken God again after getting the land of Israel. Who knows? If they don't repent, what's going to happen?
Amazing is that it is this caricature of the Jew in going back as far as the canonical gospel, the canonical texts, 27 books in the Christian Bible, the works of the apostolic fathers.
There, he's attacking the church fathers now, the works of the apostolic fathers. Really, did they attack the Jews so much? Please, this animosity towards the Jews, rather, this animosity the Jews have towards the Christians started after the Simon Bar Kokhba revolt, because back then the Christian Jews didn't join the false Messiah Simon Bar Kokhba. 20% of them, they didn't join them. They refused to accept him as the Messiah, and they lost. And then what did they do? They blame it on the Christians. And since then, they have just been playing that blame game again and again and again. And why the Apostolic Fathers? Come on, man. The Apostolic Fathers, the early church fathers, for instance, if I'm looking at Justin Martyr, he did have a dialogue with Trypho the Jew, a very good debate and stuff. He didn't insult him. He was appealing to scripture to talk about his claims concerning Jesus being the Messiah and God.
The writings of the church fathers, they all were viscerally anti-Jewish. Christians are not insane.
Really? Could you quote the source and the writings? Could you please do that? And the context in which they are speaking? If you are reading Romans chapter 11, Paul is clearly saying that compared to the Gentile Christians, the Jewish nation still are the natural branches of the vine, whereas the Gentiles who have come into the church of God, we are artificial branches who have been grafted into the vine. So he says that although they have been cut off from the vine, it's easier for God to put back the natural branches as compared to us Gentile Christians who have artificially been grafted into the vine. This is nonsense.
Christians have been poisoned by this because they're reading, as you said, they're just reading, just pouring at them. The Jew is the villain. He's the worst person in the world. And therefore, you don't need to read the Jewish Bible. You don't compare anything. Of course, the Jews are the enemies of God. Of course, they killed God. Of course, no matter how ridiculous that is that you can kill God. But of course, they can do it. Why? Because they're so evil. If you tried...
Really, of course they killed God. Your Old Testament says that the Jews betrayed God. Your Old Testament, the Tanakh says that. Read the book of Ezekiel. What does God call Israel? What does God call Judah? He calls them whores. He says that Judah is a whore just like our elder sister Israel for their sins and what they have done, which got them down the destruction of the first temple. And in the second temple, even the Talmud condemns you. That when you guys killed Christ, the Talmud condemns you. I did that video and I made a clip of it in my recent video. Aleko, Mr. Ivak is a troll pretending to be a Jew, guys. He's not a Jew, but he's someone from the Indian subcontinent. And he was just trolling around on my channel. And by the way, he was not answering questions. And he was supporting Tovia. And he was praising Sisi and all these kind of things. Anyway, Mr. Ivak, I'd suggest you go continue play your games.
Saying that the Swedes killed God, people wouldn't believe it. What do you mean? Swedes are nice blonde-haired people. They didn't do any of that stuff. That's silly. If you said the Eskimos killed God, you go, are you insane? If someone said the Puerto Ricans killed God, people go, you're out of your mind. So you see, it's funny, right? But it wouldn't work. The story just would never work if you had said the Italians killed God. Italians are too busy making spaghetti. You know, as it turns out, according to the Christian Bible, it was the Italians, namely the Romans. It was Rome that killed Jesus. Yet no one blames the Italians for it. No one says, oh, those Italians are a bunch of Christ killers. Never. You never heard that in your whole life.
Oh, really? The Christian Bible does say that. Jesus himself said that he's going to be mocked by the Gentiles and the unbelievers and going to be killed. Our Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed does say that Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate. So what? Even Paul, probably the number one evangelist, himself says that he was one of the greatest persecutors of the Christian church. And even secular historians agree that Paul did have a legitimate conversion from Judaism to Christianity. And if you're talking about Paul's teacher, who is Saint Gamaliel, he is venerated as a saint in the Orthodox Church, and he's also venerated as a saint in the Eastern Rite of the Catholic Church as well, Saint Gamaliel in Acts 5, and Paul again talks about him later on in Acts, saying that he is a student. So what? And now see what he's going to play, what part he's going to play.
How did that happen? How come? Do you know that in Ethiopian Christianity, Pontius Pilate, the very person that sentences Jesus to be crucified, is a saint in Ethiopian Christianity. That is mind-blowing. He's venerated. People in Ethiopian Christianity pray to Pontius Pilate as a saint. This you can lose your mind hearing this. So I wanted to share this with you.
So what if he is a saint? He is a saint even in the Coptic Orthodox Church. Perhaps that would have been a tradition. He would have had a conversion, like much like Paul. Therefore, Paul is a saint. Even Saint Gamaliel, a teacher whom you rabbis, rabbinic Judaism, have to revere as one of the greatest teachers, Jewish teachers in the first century, was also Paul's mentor. We accept him as a saint within the Eastern Rite of the Catholic Church and within the Eastern Orthodox Church. So what?
Meeting Christians personally changed my entire world around, upside down. Because I was as a child, I only knew Christians that hated me. I never met a nice Christian as a child.
Christians who hated you, I never met a nice Christian as a child. What nonsense are you talking about? Seriously? Were you born in Nazi Germany when you're saying that I've only met Christians who have hated me? Tell me, what nonsense is this? Really? This is such nonsense. One of the wealthiest families in the world, the most industrious families in the world, they were Jewish and they were the Rothschild family. They ruled, they were the most influential and the most richest family in the world for, I think, about a good 2 or 3 centuries. By the way, it was the Rothschild family. Why would they hate you? Seriously, why? What for?
I was born 15 years after the Holocaust. All I knew was that Christians wanted to kill us, and I couldn't imagine why, and I thought they were all insane. I really did. I never met any Indians as a kid. We just didn't interact with them. But in New York, you had Christians, whether Italian, Protestant, whatever. So when I thought that people who were not Jewish must have been insane because they hate me for a reason that I don't know. They always cursed me, always.
Who are you talking about? I just know one bunch of people who always have problems with the Jews. Whenever something happens, they'll say this is a Jewish conspiracy. And when they say that on the day of judgment, the Jew will hide behind the stone, but even the stone will say that there's a Jew behind me. And you're consorting with these people who hate the Jews to the core, that even their scriptures openly say that. I can only think about one brand of people who hate the Jews so much, vitriolically hate them so much. What examples? Yeah. Sunnah.com. Allah's Messenger said, you, i.e., Muslims, will fight with the Jews until some of them hide behind stones. Just a second. Some of them will hide behind stones. The stones will betray them, saying, oh, slave of Allah, Abdullah, there's a Jew hiding behind me, so kill him. Seriously, are you sure that you had met Christians, or did you meet some Muslims? Did you grow up in a Muslim neighborhood and thought that they were Christians? I don't know. But then again, at the same time, you have no problem sitting with Muslims. Probably 90% of your fan base is Muslims. I just don't get your relationship with Muslims. Are you really a rabbinic Jew, Tovia? Are you really a rabbinic Jew? The ultra-Orthodox Jews in Israel will have your head. The Sanhedrin, the current Sanhedrin in Israel, they will have your head. Seriously. Because they hate Muslims to the core, the ultra-Orthodox Jews in Israel, FYI. I don't know how come Tovia is still alive in Israel, to be really honest.
Never. If I walked as a youngster, walked past a bunch of Christians on the street, if I was lucky, they'd spit at me. That's if I was lucky. I usually would have to run away as fast as I can.
They would be lucky that they would spit at me. Tovia is just conjuring up stories. Oh gosh, Aliko, I'll pray for your son. Please pray for your friend's son. Guys, please keep Aliko's friend's son in prayers. Just what nonsense is he talking about? Look, man, I can understand this if something. If Adolf Hitler was telling me all this for his justification for wiping out the Jews, I would actually believe him. Okay, but not you, Tovia.
and cross the other side of the street so they wouldn't attack me. That's how I live my life. So
I'd cross at the other side of the streets and they wouldn't attack me. That's how I lived my life. Seriously, Tovia. Oh my gosh.
I thought they were all crazy. They're all nuts. What happened is that two things happened as a young adult. First thing is I met some very nice Christians. They're really nice people. And two is I read the Christian Bible and I began to study it. And I realized where this hatred comes from. They're reading these texts that characterize the Jew in such a toxic way that of course they hate us.
What nonsense. Seriously? Seriously? What nonsense is this? I just don't get it. I mean, any of you, regardless of your denomination, if you have been going to any mainstream churches all your life, tell me, even one of our sermons, any of the texts which you read out, did your priest, did your pastor, or whoever was the leader, did they condemn or curse the Jews? No. Go to a mosque, go open up the Quran, go open up the Hadiths, go open up the tafsirs written by the earliest Islamic scholars, and you will see how much of hatred they have for the Jews. In fact, they would be hating the Jews more than the Christians, as a matter of fact. And yet, Tovia wants to consort with them.
Of course, the church fathers despised us. Look where they're getting their information from. And that changed my view of Christians, because then I said, oh, these are really nice people whose just their minds have been poisoned. You pointed out Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice, was written, 1595, 1596. Of course, that was Shakespeare's view. Why? Because Shakespeare met Jews and he had a bad experience with a Jew? He never met a Jew. He was only poisoned by the world that he lived in, which was entirely Christian.
I already debunked that. He never met a Jew.
And there is the whole story.
In fact, I remember
This is the supposed Christian now yakking nonsense.
reading it many years back as a probably the 7th grade, but I still remember the words, a couple of words.
You didn't read The Merchant of Venice in the 7th grade. I know what syllabus it was because even we had a poem about The Merchant of Venice. It was just an excerpt from the entire book, from the entire play, an excerpt. It was just a poem. Maybe it could have been around 20 or 30 lines from that. Okay, and he's just quoting that line there. He's never read The Merchant of Venice.
Sentences. It says, "Not a drop of Christian blood will fall on the ground." It is. I remember that. And the second thing is this: a pound of Christian flesh. So these are the things which Shylock asks. So these things have had a lasting experience on and an impression on people.
Yeah, so this strategy of demonizing a particular sect that stands in opposition to anything that Christians say and do.
Please speak for yourself now, you Hindu nationalists. Speak for yourself. Please speak for yourself. Your expose is also going to come out soon.
Has been in practice since long. I mean, since the canonical times.
That's right.
Since the New Testament times.
That's
And
right.
today in India, if you take any popular movie or a series, all the antagonists are Hindus.
You take any popular movie or series, all the antagonists are Hindus. What nonsense is this, man? I mean, there are lots of Indians there, even in my chat. They will say this person is just talking nonsense. Seriously, which movie have we seen? Oh my gosh, there were just a couple of the movies which had come out concerning an Australian missionary. It just come out last year, and it's actually a true story, who was burned to death by Hindu extremists in one of the rural areas in India, which happened, I think, about over a decade ago. I can't exactly remember the year. That's the only movie which has come out, and over there, the antagonists are not Hindus. The antagonists are just a subset of Hindu nationalists. And of all the thousands or maybe tens of thousands of Bollywood films, please, the protagonists have been Hindus, the antagonists have been Hindus. In some movies, the protagonists have been Hindus, the antagonists have been Muslims. Some movies, the protagonists have been Hindus, the antagonists have been Christians. Such nonsense. Seriously.
Invariably, and all the good
It's just one liar, a bunch of liars talking to another liar, nothing else.
people are everybody that's not a Hindu, like Christians and Muslims.
So,
So this we've been seeing for many, many years.
This we have been seeing for many, many years. 30 years of my life, I've never seen an Indian movie. Never seen a mainstream Bollywood movie where I've seen such a plot, to be really honest.
But it's just now that Hindus are waking up to this fact.
It's not Hindus that are waking up, it's just Hindus are being brainwashed by you people or from the Hindu nationalist movement.
For all these years, all these decades, we've been taking it as creativity, so to say. And a lot of times we didn't even pay attention that something like this was going on.
Really, they didn't pay any attention that something like this was going on. Come on, man. This is such nonsense. Christians in Indian Bollywood movies making Hindus the antagonists, right? Seriously. By the way, the top actors, among the top actors in Indian Bollywood movies, they are Khans who are Muslims. And these Muslims, they are kind of even, some of them are even married to Hindus, and they're pretty much, you could say, they're secular Muslims. They don't really care. They have played a Christian, they've played a Hindu, they've played a Muslim, they've played an atheist, to tell you the truth. Yeah, Daniel Gogi, yeah, most of the villains have Christian names and oppressed people names. Yeah, that's right. Some movies like the Christians are made to sound like the mafia in some Hindu movies, by the way. Hindi movies, not Hindu movies.
So off late, we see this more aggressively being played out, and people are waking up to this fact.
Right, right. Show me 10 popular Bollywood films with such a plot, or say 5 popular Bollywood films with such a plot. I challenge you.
So yes, this is one of their strategies.
in fact, if you look at the Indian context also, unlike, for example, Israel is a different ball game, India is a different ball game. If you look at the Indian context, very clearly targeting Hindus. For example, Thomas came to India, of course, one of the 12 disciples came to India. This is what has been preached, which has been rubbished by the previous Pope. Said that
It's not been rubbished by the previous Pope. That's all nonsense. Give me an official statement.
there is no, he would not have come.
Please, if it was rubbished by the previous Pope, why is still a Catholic church there in India at the place where Thomas was killed? Why are the relics, part of the relics of Thomas still there in India, including his part of his toes and fingers and things like that? This is all nonsense. He's just yakking, God knows, BS. All BS.
To India. Now, when you look at Thomas having come to India 2000 years back, the story that is being built is this: that a Hindu priest killed him with a spear. He became a martyr in India, and he was killed by a Hindu priest. Can you believe it? The kind of a story that is being built so that the hatred on the Hindus builds up.
Hatred with the Hindus builds up, seriously. Hatred with the Hindus builds up. Christians are in no position to wage war or hatred against the Hindus, seriously, back in India. They are in absolutely no position.
So every other sections of the society, if you see, the villain here in India is a Hindu.
What nonsense, seriously. Talk about your caste system, man. Your priestly class, the Brahmins, what they had done. Talk about what India was like before the missionaries came to India. No rights for women, no women's education. Widows are burnt on the stake, had to burn and commit suicide on the stake if their husband dies. So much of illiteracy, caste system, untouchability, which is still prevalent, of course, even today. Backward thinking. And you're just here yakking nonsense.
So much so to say that there is a class called the Brahmin society. The Brahmins are the ones who are the priests, who are learned, and they are being brandished as the villains in the Christian world. just to throw that into the conversation. So I'm sure they would have employed the same such strategies across the globe wherever they went, so that they could pin the particular indigenous civilizations and show the Christians as an upper class or the victimhood or anything of that sort. So there's one more thing. What I wanted to ask is,
It's really a very good story. Really. It's really a very good story, man. Seriously, it's really a very good story.
this there is this anti-missionary law which has been implemented in Israel. You're aware of it, Rabbi? I remember.
Anti-missionary law. I know that there are anti-missionary laws in India. Okay, there are laws against proselytization in India, and yet you guys have ISKCON going around in the West, converting gullible Westerners into Hinduism. Your hypocrisy is mind-blowing.
I
Because
would think so.
yeah, and also I wanted to bring to this discussion the way God channel, an evangelical channel, came into Israel and it was asked to live also.
That's right.
Yeah, could you throw light on that?
Yeah, so let me explain this part. Let me explain this because
I think
Israel,
is he talking about God TV or God channel? I think he's talking about God TV. So anyway, got more of these prosperity preachers anyway. It's got very little to do with mainstream Christianity, to be really honest. God TV or God channel or whatever he's talking about.
Israel is a free country, and people are free to practice their religion. There are very specific laws in this country that relate to missionaries. In this country, it is against the law to try to convert a minor, someone under 18 years old. That's against the law.
To be really frank, the Catholic Church, if they accept people in the RCIA, if you happen to be under 18, we can't accept a person in the RCIA that has become a catechumen until and unless we get express permission from their legal guardians or their parents. So,
and that is on the basis on which we were able to get God TV, which was going to broadcast on regular cable television, children as well. They were removed from the air. So in this country, you can't evangelize minors. Now, the evangelicals have all kinds of games to get around that. What they do is they have their children evangelize other children, because it's against the law for an adult to evangelize a child, but there's no law that a 10-year-old can't try to convert another 10-year-old. So they have all kinds of games like that with a
really, a 10-year-old trying to convert a 10-year-old. How common is that? How common is that?
go to places where children play in the parks and so on, and missionaries will leave pamphlets there oriented toward children using cartoons and so on. They try to get around that. So the law in Israel is, number one, that you're not allowed to try to convert someone who is under the age of 18, a child. The other law is that you cannot provide remuneration for conversion, meaning you can't pay somebody, you can't provide a financial incentive to convert to Christianity. That's against the law as well, to any religion. You can't do that. So, and those are the only laws. There have been laws that were raised in the parliament here in Israel called the Knesset to try to outlaw evangelism in general, but those efforts have not yet been successful. So those are the laws here in Israel. But otherwise, I mean, look, there are 200,000 Christians living in Israel.
Are there really 200,000 Christians living in Israel? Deus Imperator, could you just fact check? He's claiming that there are about 200,000 Christians living in Israel.
And they don't have to worry that Jews are going to try to convert them. They don't have to worry that Jews are going to try to convert their children. That's not going to happen.
You should be more scared about the atheists in Israel and the growing secular culture in Israel, which is dominating, which is the dominant worldview over there as compared to Christianity. And apart from Judaism, you have to even worry about Islam. Seriously. And you're just worried about Christianity. I just don't get your logic. If it's just a numbers game.
People here have complete religious freedom. Just stay away from our children. Don't try to convert our kids. Don't get involved in this charade where becoming a Christian is really becoming a Jew. Don't play these games, because then it's false advertising. Then you're engaging in a fraud, and that's something that I confront.
So what's the
Okay, so Deus Imperator is saying 175,000 Christians in Israel. I see. It's about 2% of the population. I just have a feeling maybe Tovia Singer could have counted the Messianic Jews and could have rounded it up to 200,000, because I know there are roughly 30,000 Messianic Jews in Israel.
Christian representation in the parliament? What percentage?
There she goes with that stupid logic. She used that stupid logic even before, saying that Christians influence a lot of decisions in the Indian parliament, which is baloney. And now she's thinking that, yeah, maybe it's the same thing happening over here because the Jewish parliament is not able to pass a law to prevent Christians from evangelizing. Of course they can't, because if you're looking at the Israeli parliament, there are even a lot of, say, atheists involved. So they wouldn't really care if they evangelize or don't evangelize.
Oh, very, very small. I want to think this through for a moment. So there are 120 seats in parliament, and how many Christians are there? I don't know. There may be two, maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing. So one other thing about the Christians that are here, I mentioned there are 200,000, and that is that they're Arabs. They're Arab Christians. And the Arab
Christians, remember, Arab
Christians are almost all Roman Catholics.
That's not necessarily true. Some of them are Orthodox, one of the Orthodox rites. Not necessarily all of them are Roman Catholics. Some of them could be Eastern Rite Catholics, like the Melkite or the Maronite. That's possible. But a lot of them will be belonging even to either the Oriental Orthodox or some rite of the Eastern Orthodox.
Not all, but almost all Roman Catholic. I'm talking about people who actually are just citizens of Israel. They're almost all Roman Catholic. And Roman Catholics today are not interested in converting Jews. So
really, you're not interested in converting Jews. Roman Catholics today, if you happen to be a serious Roman Catholic missionary, you are interested in converting everyone. There's no such thing as a target group or some kind of a target campaign which you'll be doing, like getting Hindus in or getting Muslims in. It's not really very specific kind of marketing. Okay. It's about getting everyone, whether it's the atheist, the Jew, the Hindu. We do send people out on missions anyway.
So therefore, the 200,000 Arabs, so it's possible that in what's called the Joint List, which is it's a coalition of a number of Arab parties or Islamic parties, that there might be a Arab Christian there. I don't recall offhand. It's possible. But that whoever that person is, I can assure you, the last thing on his mind or her mind is trying to convert Jews. It's these people that are coming from abroad, getting all sorts of visas, and then coming here doing their work. There are some evangelical Christians who live here, are citizens of Israel, but it's not very much. It's from the outside coming in.
So there are no laws that prevent a person coming to the country on a visitor's visa indulging in conversion activities?
No, none. No, there's no law like that in this country. Now, it is true that I have a very large YouTube channel.
Now listen to this part. I have a very large YouTube channel. Listen to this part.
I have, about 11 million viewers.
He has about 11 million viewers on his YouTube channel. Tovia Singer claims he's got about 11 million viewers on his YouTube channel. Just make a quick search on Tovia Singer's YouTube. He's got about 55 or 56,000 subscribers. Those are his viewers. And out of those 55 or 56,000 subscribers, I'm sure at least 50,000 of them are Muslim. This is such a blatant lie. He's claiming he's got over 11 million viewers.
So, and I speak extensively.
I'll just play that part again.
I do a lot. I mean, it's true that I have a very large YouTube channel. You know, I have, I don't know, about 11 million viewers. So, and
11 million viewers. Tovia Singh's got 11 million viewers. Wow. He's got about 56,000 subscribers as of today. And this video was made about, I think, about a year ago. Let's have a look at the date. Yeah, it was made about a year ago. So back then he could be having what, 45,000, 50,000? I don't know, what is this guy smoking?
I speak extensively. I do a lot. I mean, I used to do a lot of public speaking. Now with this plague that the whole world is dealing with, there's no public events.
What no public events? The plague which the whole world is dealing with. Last couple of years, you have just been running away from debates with informed Catholic apologists, or rather informed Christian apologists, if I'll be honest, who know the Hebrew as well. And you don't need a place to do public platform. If you're just sitting here talking in front of thousands of viewers on YouTube, who needs a public platform? You have stuff online to do debates these days. You have stuff online to do public discourses. Seriously, quit giving excuses.
So anybody who comes in here trying to pull a stunt like that and try to convert the Jews, I am going to make this country and people around the world know about that. And they're going to be, and it's going to bring whatever social pressure, whatever it is, people are going to know, and I'm going to make sure of that. So
good luck with that. We're going to know, just your 50,000 plus Muslim fan base.
So that's not, it's not illegal. That means they're engaging in a practice that is considered, it's just taboos. It's very offensive to us. The Jews see the land of Israel as an oasis, a place where we escape Christianity. This is where we came.
A place where they escaped Christianity. Seriously, you didn't escape Christianity, you just escaped the Holocaust. Please, and you guys were thrown out because of the Romans, which was judgment. Went to the second temple, and then you guys suffered because of the Muslims, and now you're saying that you escaped Christianity. You just escaped Nazism and parts of secular Europe. You didn't escape Christianity.
So we don't have to live under the heels of the church. This is our oasis. The whole state of Israel is 25,000 square.
Saljon, Esther is an ex-Christian. She's an ex-Christian on the payroll of the RSS.
Kilometers. It's a very tiny place, little country. Country you can drive from the north to the south in just 4 or 5 hours. That's it. You can go from the east to the west in this country. You can drive it in an hour without traffic. That's how small this country is. Very tiny place. And we came here to escape persecution in Christian countries, not in India, not in China, but in countries that are Christian, and other countries and Muslim countries as well. So this is just like in India, there are certain cultural norms that if you violate them, it's considered a very serious taboo. It depends on what state in India you're in, but there are cultural norms and there are very strong taboos in India. Here, running around trying to destroy the Jewish faith by evangelizing is
seriously. You're worried about the 2% of Christianity when you should be worried about the atheists and the Abduls taking over your country.
Considered extremely repulsive to the Jewish people, and the way we responded.
So atheism is not repulsive, Abdulism is not repulsive. Okay, but Christianity is. Fine, I get you. I get your point.
We don't use violence. We don't do any of those things. We don't need to. We use education, and we bring it to light.
Yes. Rabbi, my question is, what is the message that you want to give to the Hindus in India?
The problem is that
And this guy, Cheromanto, claims that he is an Indian Christian with the Indian nationalist movement. Seriously. You're not a Christian in the first place. You're just an RSS goon. And what message you want to give to the Hindus in India?
I would tell the Hindus in India to study the Jewish scriptures. I just don't
I'll tell the Hindus in India to study the Jewish scriptures. Oh, please, first tell the Hindus in India to study their own scriptures, at least in English or Hindi. The Hindus in India don't even know their own scriptures in Sanskrit. Are you telling them to learn Hebrew? Seriously. Yeah, so of Jesus Christ, he would want Hindus to convert to Judaism. Then that would make like what? Over 1 billion Jews on the planet if they converted to Judaism. Enough to rival Islam.
know how that rings with Hindus. I'll be frank with you. I never engaged in my life in theological discussions with Hindus. I met many, I just never engaged in them. It was always a very pleasant discussion, and Hindus in every case have an enormous respect for my faith that I've met in my life.
Oh, really? Hindus have really enormous respect for your faith, in which I have met in my life. I don't know, what are you smoking? If you have met normal Hindus, that's fine. But if you're talking about Hindu nationalists, such as the two people who are talking with here, then you'll be in for a surprise.
Life. Maybe there's some that don't. I just never met that person. Remember what I said earlier. If you want to understand about a counterfeit, the way to do that is to study the Jewish scriptures, to be educated, to have that power, to know what the Jewish Bible says. And if you understand the original, then
you understand the original. Same argument which Islam makes. You need to go back to the Arabic. Arabic.
then no missionary will be able to rob you of your faith. That would be my message.
So I want to end this with by saying that you haven't met a Hindu who
yeah, Hindus don't even know Sanskrit and they learn Hebrew. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Soviet of Jesus Christ, you are right. They can't even speak Sanskrit. They would be able to read Sanskrit, some of them at least. They would be able to read Sanskrit, but they wouldn't be able to even understand it. They're going to learn Hebrew.
hates a Jew is because such a Hindu does not exist.
Okay, now here's the lie. A Hindu which hates a Jew because such a Hindu does not exist. Now this lie. Okay. I'm going to drop this link here in the chat, guys. So this is from an Israeli newspaper. It's Haaretz.com. It's an Israeli newspaper, and Haaretz, by the way, it's more of a left-leaning Israeli newspaper. And this is what they have to say. Why is India's government celebrating an anti-Semitic pro-genocide Hitler devotee? This is what they have to say. When the culture ministries honored a Nazi sympathizer who mocked democracy and called for the forced subjugation of the Muslim minority, it was a chilling indication of where Narendra Modi is learning Hindu nationalism and India. Oh gosh, don't tell me it's asking me for a subscription. I won't do that. Anyway, I'll drop the other link. Guruji's lie, the RSS, that is the thing, this fat cow and that other guy, Jerome Manto, if that is his real name, they are associated with the Rashtriya Samaj Sangh, which is a branch of the Hindu nationalist movement. And this gentleman here was one of their founders. And it was founded on the principles of Nazism and anti-Semitism. It's all over the place, this guy here. Okay. And I have no idea why is tovia consorting with these people. He's consorting with people who hate Jews to the core, whose political parties, political ideology has been founded on this agenda. Oh my gosh. Gowalkar drew lessons from Hitler's Germany. There you go. And the origins of the Hindu nationalist movement, it's going to be one of my upcoming live streams. How much laden it's with, how much it's laden with anti-Semitism and hatred for the Jews, and glorifying Hitler and praising Hitler. That even liberal Israeli newspapers have to call them out. These are liberal. It's a liberal Israeli newspaper, by the way, Haaretz. It's not the one which is even run by any Orthodox publication. I'll just put this on. Just a minute. Let's get back here.
Yeah.
Hindus are known for their tolerance, as we've already spoken. So you will never meet a Hindu that would hate not just a Jew, but anybody.
I'll tell you crazy. I know I'm interrupting. I'll tell you.
Seriously, the media in India right now, it's, as of the last few years, it's been brainwashing people to hate Christianity, to hate Islam, and to love Hindu nationalism. As of the last, say, 8 or 9 years, they are under the payroll of the current Indian regime and the RSS, whom Esther and this guy Jero Manto are staunchly affiliated with.
The crazy thing, I never met a Hindu that tolerated me. Every Hindu I met, and I met many, respect me and respect my faith. It's not just they tolerate or put up or allow Jews to practice freely. No, it's much more than that. Hindus celebrate my faith, respect the monotheism of Judaism, adore what we consider to be sacred. So I will say this to you.
That's not such a big deal. Like, you come to India, if you're looking at Hindus who are not brainwashed by Hindu nationalism, you will see them coming to church. You'll see them actually venerating Jesus and identifying himself as a god, because that's the whole thing about Hinduism. They are ready to accept anything and anyone as a god at the end of the day. They'll accept even one of their celebrities or heroes or sports players or freedom fighters as a god. They are into hero worship and all these things. You'll see Hindus coming to Catholic churches in India and venerating Mary, the mother of Jesus. That's not really a big thing. It's just this Hindu nationalist movement, which has kind of had a resurrection within the last 10 years, which has started creating problems. Yep, absolutely, Sal John. Two hypocrites and liars complementing each other. If this was any of the ultra-Orthodox Jews in Israel, the Jews who are rooting for the third temple to be built and the Jews who want the Sanhedrin to be reformed, they will actually kill Tovia Singer. They'll actually kill Tovia Singer. I just can't understand why Tovia Singer is still alive. I really don't get it. They'll actually kill Tovia Singer, these guys.
No, I've never been tolerated by a Hindu. I've always been cherished, admired, and respected by Hindus all my life. And that's never changed. So we're done with being tolerated. We really want to be respected. And we are by Hindus. And I wanted to make that point. But I understand what you're saying. And I wanted to convey that to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for correcting me and adding that there. So you're not just tolerated, you're respected, even on this show and by.
Yeah. Tolerated and respected. Go read your RSS manifesto. Yeah, here's another research paper here. I've been going through some literature as well on this. So yeah, this is what it is all about. I'll just show you some headers. So Hindu nationalism and Italian fascism. I've made some highlights. I'll probably summarize this later at some point in my series. Then that's one of their leaders, Munjay, for militarizing Hindus, and that's something which has been happening even today. Like, even the current Indian Prime Minister is born out of this crucible. And here's another founder of theirs, the Savarkar, that's Damodar Savarkar and Narcissus. So there's lots of stuff here. So I've been reading up quite a bit of this literature lately. And I just can't understand how is Tovia Singer getting along with this very same people. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
By the viewers of this show too. You've suggested the Hindus to get enlightened about the Jewish scriptures. So I would definitely
Now, this is the joke.
partner with you in bringing that. So much for correcting me and adding that there. So
Okay, now hear this. Watch here.
You're not just tolerated, you're respected even on this show and by the viewers of this show too. You've suggested the Hindus to get enlightened about the Jewish scriptures. So I would definitely partner with you in bringing that education to them, since I'm involved in educating the Hindus about the Bible, both the Hebrew.
You should be educating the Hindus about Sanskrit, which you yourself don't know. Seriously. And you want to talk about Hebrew. Oh my gosh.
And the Greek scriptures. So I can definitely
Does Tovia Singer know Greek? She asked about the Greek scriptures. Does Tovia Singer know Greek? I doubt it.
partner with you, learn some Hebrew from you, and then probably bring them the education that they
She's going to learn Hebrew from Tovia Singer. Oh boy, if they were to make some videos and you'll see Esther Dhanraj making videos on Hebrew, that's going to be fun.
require to counter conversions in their neighborhoods, workplaces, and schools and colleges.
Actually, we should be countering conversions, which you guys have been doing, things like ISKCON and stuff, and what you guys have been up to. This is what you guys have been doing in the West. Your ISKCON, your International Society of Krishna Consciousness. There you go. But everybody have to talk about sex scandal and sexual scandals in the different churches and stuff. But yeah, if we have to be consistent, then we should not be allowing ISKCON in our countries, in the Western countries.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful thing. Yeah.
So thank you.
Sounds like a wonderful thing. Oh yeah, so Tovia is going to reach what, 1 billion people, right? He might get killed on the first days. Yeah, that's what he's claiming. Deus World, yeah, thanks for picking that up. He said that he has never met Hindus, and now he's saying that that he's never met a Hindu. That, oh, probably he could be talking about these two characters. Deus World, who knows? He could be talking about Esther and this guy. Those could be the only two Hindus he's ever met. I mean, come on, man, let's apply some charity over here.
Thank you so much, Rabbi, for your time. And thank you, Jerome, for joining us. And we will continue this conversation and probably
Oh, we have been waiting for a year.
we can get together for a series of videos on theological matters.
Theological matters. Okay, cool. Let's see, it's been a year. Hopefully they do it again, unless if Toya could have been told off by some of his ultra-orthodox rabbis or his superiors not to consort with such people. Who knows? Because it's been a year.
I look forward to it. Thank you. I thank both of you for having me on. It really was a joy. Not to be tolerated, but to be respected by both of you. I really enjoyed this program.
Seriously. It was really quite a joy to tolerate you yakking this nonsense for about an hour. Seriously.
That's the Indian way of life. Indian way of life is to accept everybody the
Right.
way they are. Thank you so much.
That's it. And thank you.
Accept everybody the way they are. That's such nonsense. That's not the Indian way of life.
And shalom to both of you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you, viewers, for watching, and I will see you in another episode. Until then.
Okay. So that's that. we just noticed how much these two lie and just talk nonsense. It was just a comedy show, just one hypocrite talking to another hypocrite, and a third one player tagging along in the middle. That's all I was aware. So much of lies, God knows. Anyway, we should be praying for these people, praying for their conversion, that they repent, lest they get damned. Let's pray for us, pray for me, pray for ourselves, and pray for the persecuted church throughout the world, whether they are getting persecuted by Muslims or Hindus, or maybe even in the West by the secular world, or any other place by the communists and all these kind of things. And of course, we can't actually guarantee that this persecution is going to stop, to be really honest, because Jesus did promise there's going to be persecution. We have to pray for these persecuted Christians, because through persecution the church grows, and we also need to pray for ourselves, especially Christians in the West, to wake up and grow a spine. Anyway, Lord willing, I'll see you maybe in a couple of weeks when I'll be starting a series on Hindu nationalist movement and its origins. God bless you all. Catch you later, and happy Pentecost once again. Thanks for watching.